So let's go to one section of the prophecy that is going straight to the heart of the United States leadership, Washington, D.C. The nation of evil princes prophesied to Babylon, the nation of evil princes. Their hands have grown so fat off the sweat of the people, and this nation has come under a curse because of how greedy they are. The taxpayers' dollars are something that they hoard and they squeeze out of the citizens, and still it's not enough for them. They still require gifts, and they even take flesh as payment too. They take food and meat, wine and drink. They accept credit card payments. It's probably bribery and other things that your leaders want. Luxury apartments. We all know about the political love nests of this nation. They have their home, and then they have a little apartment downtown for where the interns can give them favors and rise to the top. So they take credit cards and luxury apartments as their payment so that they can cast their votes or pass laws or block them, obviously according to who's paid them. They take and accept holidays, trips, presents, jewelry, and every other token of servitude that will make their presence felt on the Senate floor and in the other positions that I, God, have caused them to hold. They even take male and female servants, male and female concubines to satisfy their unending lusts. They abuse human flesh and then pat the person on the back and say later, "We'll be in touch." So I saw and I wrote what I saw. I see the daughters and the sons of the elected officials of this land being offered sexually to other elected officials in return for favors. They swap their children and their wives to promote their careers. And they don't think anything of it except to say, it's the price to get to the top. The wives of these officials are made to do oral sex on a regular basis for any prince who's interested in them, to the point that these women have become skilled in what God hates. And so what I saw is that if a man wants to climb the political ladder and it's not going well or it's taking a long time, he could give up his daughter or his son or his spouse that he is in covenant with to whoever is in power that said, I've taken interest to Samantha. I'm interested in Kyle. I like Grace. You could bring your wife or your child or your wife or your daughter as the exchange for a favor later. And the Lord showed that some of these women, and perhaps maybe even the young one, the children, I don't know, especially if they're teens or whatever, they see it as a team effort for the family, sacrifice for their husbands. But he said that many of these wives are boiling inside to the point of bitterness, rage, and outward manifestation of disease because of what their husbands ask and force them to do. The Lord said, Senate wives, mayors' wives, governors' wives, and even the wives of representatives in the lower house and other official positions, women that are married to men who have an insatiable lust for power. I saw them developing heart disease and nervous disposition diseases. I saw them having fainting spells, uncontrollable shaking, and even anger, depression, and outbursts of rage. I saw them having public meltdowns and basically losing their health and vitality, even developing cancer, all because of how much hatred and rage and anger was inside them, because they're forced to kneel like slaves as men they don't know unzip their pants and force them to do things with their mouths that they don't want to do. The Lord was showing me that because of these women being forced to perform these sexual favors, their husbands might be promoted to the rank that he wanted. But when these women think about what she's being asked to do after the fancy galas and after the fancy dinners, they start to shake. They want to go home to their children who are in bed wondering when mom and dad are going to come home, but they can't because they're going to be required to go to back rooms and sometimes to go into the private cars of these men or meet them at hotel rooms, especially when the galas are being held in hotels. Rooms are booked upstairs for these women to go. And here is what God is saying. The Lord says that these princes also use the women unnaturally in the back door. America runs on sodomy. Sodomy is the act of penetrating the anus of a person with an object or with the male sexual organ, or something that can be strapped on to the body. The Lord says that these men use the women unnaturally in their back parts, and he gave the reason why. God says that the reason that the payment that the wives make is not in the front of a woman, but at the back or through the mouth, is because this avoids unwanted and mistake pregnancies when these payments of flesh are being made. It won't do to have a mayor's wife popping up with a child who's the wrong color of her husband. It won't do to have that one extra baby who doesn't look like anyone in the family, and that's because mom was sent to do things with someone high-ranking or middle-ranking who promised husband, I can get you what you need, but it's going to cost you your wife. And so what they do is, God said that these acts that they do that anger him so much, not only because they break the covenant, but because of the type of act that they are. He said that they do it because it doesn't leave a trace. And the Lord went there and he said that is why the highest office of the United States fell to one of those acts not so long ago.